Hey everybody, Adam Maynard here. I'm going to talk to you today about another relationship dynamic and pattern that I think may resonate with some of you. So, I want to talk about the moment that another person accuses us of something or characterizes something that we've done in a way that we know is not true to who we are, was not true to how we behave, and wasn't how we approached that situation in the first place. So typically, I think it's fair to say what we tend to do in those situations is try and convince the other person that they're wrong. Try and convince the other person that no, that's not actually who we are, that's not actually how we were approaching the situation, and their impression of us is incorrect, and it's really up to us, and we feel really motivated in that moment, and really, like it's our duty to set the record straight and resolve their wrong impression of us. I don't think that there's anything wrong with providing information. I don't think that there's anything wrong with, in a plain spoken way, in a direct way, in a calm way, saying, here's how I actually approached it. Here was actually my thoughts on the matter. And, these may be some of the reasons why you think it might, your impression of it may be different. Like kind of seeing it from their perspective. I can see why you may have thought that, but here's how I actually was approaching it. Sometimes, thankfully, that's enough. If they're really devoted to finding out what's true, and if they trust you, and if they are keeping an open mind about kind of the thing that they're upset about or the thing that they're frustrated by, that may be enough to reconcile the disagreement. But I'm really talking about the times where that is not nearly enough, because those are really the moments that are most difficult for us and the most challenging for us to navigate. And I want to make a suggestion to you in those moments when you find yourself, as I like to say, defending the hologram. Like you have this impression that there's like this hologram you standing off to the side that is this other person's impression of you, and you have to, like, for your dignity and your self-respect and your own sense of yourself, you have to like take a bullet for the hologram. You have to like dive in front of it and like say, wait, that's not who I am. This is who I am. I'm me. I'm right here. And you end up like really going way out on a limb, and even to the point where you're like kind of entertaining, in your defense against them, you're kind of entertaining the truth of what this other person is saying about you. That I want to say is like, is the impulse and is the action to try and interrupt the next time, because I think it's fair to say that defending the hologram for someone who's devoted to misunderstanding you, or someone who's devoted to being right about the situation, or someone who's so certain in their convictions that you are the way they think you are, even if it's untrue, no amount of defense, no amount of explaining, no amount of information you can provide them will get them to reconsider their position. And the more we extend ourselves, the more we jump in front of the hologram version of us that we know isn't true to who we are, the more we actually depart from the integrity and the self-possession and the certainty that, like, we are who we are and we're enough and we know what our intentions are, and that's okay. Because that's part of the paradox of the situation, right? In trying to like reconcile or like restore the integrity of the situation, we end up separating ourselves from it in this weird way. And so in those moments, I think the more that we can like center ourselves in our own conviction and our own impression and our own integrity of what's going on in the situation, remain calm, that like no matter the intensity with which someone is accusing our hologram of behaving in a certain way we know isn't true, we are calm and centered and grounded in the truth that we know about who we are, from our own experience of ourselves. And it's less this frantic leap and this frantic defense that really feels unsettling, and it's more just coming back to center, coming back to what we know about ourselves, coming back home to us, where we demonstrate our integrity and we demonstrate our honesty to the degree that we don't entertain its opposite. Does that make sense? Because if we can maintain that integrity, and if we can maintain that self-possession, that maybe like takes a glance over at the hologram, chuckles a little bit, and is like, dude, that's not me. the more we'll feel good about those exchanges. You know, the other person may still rage, they may still, you know, throw barb after barb about our character or about our decisions or about our qualities, and their skewed impressions of them. But we're not abandoning ourselves in those moments, and we're not abandoning our sense of ourselves in those moments where we can come out of them feeling, you know, maybe not great because we're still fielding this fielding this kind of behavior that's obviously unsettling and confrontational and feels stressful to us. But it doesn't have that added degree of the franticness that we add to the equation, where we feel like we are the ones who have to restore, where we have to restore that impression of us. Because it's not really up to us to do that. Besides providing the basic information, it's really up to the other person to kind of stand down, to look at the situation more objectively, to restore their trust in us, and that's none of those are really things that we have control over, or are decisions that we can make for them. And not misunderstanding where that accountability lies, I think, is really the key for us feeling better about these situations. Because, you know, we don't have power in someone else's choices. We don't have power really in someone else's perceptions. Again, if they are so devoted to misunderstanding us, or they're so devoted to interpreting our actions in a certain way, they're going to be able to do it, whether we like it or agree with it or not. And so just be with yourself. Just come back to center. Just, you know, kind of be your own best advocate in those moments by knowing that you don't have to topple yourself over to still feel good about yourself in those exchanges. And I think you'll come out the other side okay.